The whole world is in danger. The underworld Don Big Daddy is plotting to wipe out all the detectives and launch a devastating bombing spree across the entire world. He attempted to attack Mehul twice. Unfortunately, Alia got hurt in one of the incidents. To make matters worse, they kidnapped the Bulbulaya scientist and took him to Australia. To save the scientist, Mehul meets up with an Australian detective named Tim. They had a meeting for a whole hour. Tim informs Mehul that those underworld guys have murdered a bunch of his informants, and now they're gunning for him too. So, Tim's got this cool high-tech sensor on his phone that automatically disconnects calls if someone tries to track it. Mehul is unsure about how to rescue the Bulbulaya scientist. Before he leaves, Tim informs Mehul about David. He used to work with the underworld gang for smuggling, but eventually, he broke away from them. Now, David has valuable information about those people.
Mehul, gotta go now, cause my whole team's at risk, but I'll catch up with you real soon.
Tim takes a route through a tunnel in the jungle. Mehul's pretty tired from traveling, so he's thinking of taking a rest.
I need to rest at a hotel, or my health might suffer.
Mehul goes to a hidden hotel in Sydney, a place frequented by special agents and detectives. The hotel manager gives Mehul the key to room P and instructs him to go to the first floor. However, when Mehul reaches the first floor, he's surprised to find room Q.
I only see room Q here. I can't find room P anywhere.
But suddenly, Mehul understands that what he sees as room number Q is actually room number P in reality. Logical Army, can you tell why Mehul thought the room in front of him wasn't room Q? Let me know your answer in comments. Mehul finds an exit gate right in front of him, but it's written in a mirror image. That's when he realizes that all the room numbers in the hotel are written the same way. It's a secret hotel, and they don't want anyone to know which rooms are occupied. Mehul enters room P, locks the door, and then he lies down on the bed to rest. In the evening, someone knocks on the door, and Mehul wakes up.
Who could it be at this time?
Mehul opens the door with his gun in hand, and there stands a waiter on the other side. He takes the coffee from the waiter and closes the door.
I didn't order any tea or coffee, so why did this waiter bring it?
He starts having doubts and imagines the waiter. Suddenly, he realizes that it's not the waiter, but someone else. Logical Army, can you guess how Mehul figured it out? Let me know your answer by commenting. The waiter was well dressed, but he was wearing sports shoes. In such a big hotel, waiters usually wear proper dress shoes. He quickly throws the coffee.
Thank goodness, I didn't have the coffee. There could be poison in it.
Mehul goes downstairs to talk to the hotel manager. The manager tells him that they didn't send any waiter to his room with coffee. Mehul checks the CCTV cameras, but they were not working at that moment. Mehul's mind wasn't working properly. He couldn't understand how those people managed to reach the hotel. How did they trace Mehul when his phone was off? Confused, Mehul immediately goes to the bathroom and takes a shower to cool down his mind. After a while, Mehul gets ready and sets out to find David, the only person who can lead him to the missing scientist. Mehul disguises himself like a typical Australian, making sure no one recognizes him. He buys stylish sunglasses and takes a taxi to David's old house.
Sydney is a beautiful city.
Mehul reaches David's old house, and someone downstairs tells him that David doesn't come there anymore. It's been 5 months since they last saw him. Mehul goes to David's house to investigate. There were spider webs all around, and the place was dusty. Mehul checks each room one by one, but suddenly, something unexpected happens. Mehul tries his best to free himself, but his legs were locked with a special contraption. Hanging upside down, Mehul's mobile phone also falls down. Logical Army, do you have any idea by which Mehul can free himself? Carefully observe, there's a glass frame on the wall in front of Mehul. He can break that glass frame and cut his rope. Mehul starts moving, gradually increasing his speed in a semicircle. He grabs the glass frame in the next round, and as soon as he reaches the wall, he forcefully strikes the glass frame against the wall, shattering it. Mehul immediately starts cutting the rope with the pieces of glass. Slowly, the rope starts to break, and finally, Mehul falls down.
The rope is cut, but how do I remove this frame from my leg?
Mehul is freeing himself, but the frame is still stuck on his leg. He is trying hard, but the frame is not coming off. Mehul is thinking of going to a mechanic. He is limping away. Mehul sees 3 mechanic shops at an intersection. Can you tell which shop Mehul should go to? Let me know your answer in the comments. The first shop has TVs and computers. The second one has coolers and fans. But the third shop has hammers displayed outside, indicating it's a hardware mechanic. Mehul should go to the third shop. He enters the shop and asks the mechanic to remove the lock frame from his foot. The mechanic asks Mehul to wait for 2 minutes and goes inside the shop. Mehul is experiencing pain because of the lock frame. Minutes pass by, but the mechanic doesn't return.
Hey listen, please hurry up, I'm in a lot of pain right now.
But the mechanic doesn't come out. Mehul starts getting worried, and just then, several police cars arrive at the scene with sirens blaring.
Hands up. I repeat, hands up.
Mehul is confused and doesn't know what's happening. He raises his hands, and 2 police officers put handcuffs on him, treating him like a criminal. Mehul is forced to kneel, and a gun is pointed at his head.
Officer, listen to me. I am Detective Mehul from India.
But the police don't listen and treat him like a criminal, dragging him towards their car. Mehul feels helpless, wishing Alia were with him. She would have fought against the police for him. The police make Mehul sit in their car. The mechanic comes out of the shop, and the police officer shakes hands with him. Mehul is puzzled, and the police explain that the mechanic informed them because the lock frame on Mehul's foot is a special foot locker used by the Sydney police to catch criminals. They had placed it at David's house to catch him. The police suspect that Mehul is David's associate. Mehul gets caught by the police and ends up in prison. He doesn't have his phone or any of his belongings.
I need to do something, or I'll be in trouble.
Feeling helpless, Mehul doesn't know whom to ask for help. Suddenly, 3 people enter the police station. Mehul gets a glimmer of hope. Logical Army, can you tell what did Mehul see that gave him hope? Let me know your answer by commenting. Among the 3 people, one of the ladies is wearing an Indian sari and has a Mangal Sutra around her neck, indicating that she is Indian. Mehul starts shouting loudly.
Hey ma'am, please listen. I'm from India and need your help. Please help me.
The lady recognizes Mehul.
Oh, this is Detective Mehul.
She immediately comes to Mehul.
Mehul, how did you end up in prison?
Mehul shares the whole story, and she talks to the police about Mehul. Her name is Rishika, and she's the wife of a well-known businessman in Sydney. The police trust her and let Mehul go.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
Mehul learns that Rishika is also from Mumbai and married a businessman in Sydney. Mehul knows he needs to save the Bulbulaya scientist, so he takes Rishika's number and leaves the police station. Once outside, Mehul calls Tim.
Where are you? I got into jail because of that David.
Tim finds out David's location and shares it with Mehul. Mehul goes to a nearby shop, thinking of renting a bike. The shopkeeper shows him 4 bikes. Logical Army, which bike do you think Mehul should choose? Let me know your answer in the comments. The first bike is tiny, almost like a kid's bike. The tires of the second bike are worn out, and it might get a flat tire in the forest. The third and fourth bikes seem fine, but the tires of the third bike are strong and big, making it suitable for the forest. Mehul takes the third bike and heads towards the forest.
In Mumbai, traffic makes driving challenging.
As Mehul was thinking, out of nowhere, a stick comes flying and hits his bike tire hard. He loses balance and jumps, colliding with a nearby tree. His head spins, and when he gets up, he sees Arif and his gang standing in front of him.
Welcome, Mehul. Welcome. As soon as I learned that you've come to Sydney, I personally came to greet you.
Oh, I'll give you a welcome you won't forget.
Upon hearing this, Arif gets angry.
Fire.
Arif's men start firing at Mehul. A bullet grazes Mehul's arm, and he desperately dodges the bullets. But somehow, he manages to avoid getting hit. Logical Army, Mehul doesn't have a gun. What should he do now? Do you have any ideas on how Mehul can defeat Arif and his goons? Let me know in the comments. Observe carefully, there's a lighter just ahead of Mehul, and his bike's petrol is spilling. Mehul jumps and grabs the lighter, immediately setting it on fire and throws it into the bike's fuel tank. As soon as the lighter collides with the tank, a fire ignites, causing a massive blast. Arif and all his men fly in the air like insects. The bike's handle hits Arif's stomach, and he gets severely injured. Due to the blast, all of Arif's goons get badly wounded and unconscious. Mehul also sustains a minor injury. Mehul immediately catches Arif and ties his hands with his jacket.
Hurry up and tell me where your other buddies are and where they've kept the Bulbulea scientist.
Mehul, I might die, but I won't say a word.
Mehul throws a strong punch at Arif. He tries hard, but Arif stays silent. Mehul calls Detective Tim in Australia to get a car and takes Arif and his gang towards David's house. Mehul arrives at David's house. David had constructed a luxurious bungalow right in the middle of the forest, complete with a swimming pool inside.
David is living a cushy life here, earning money from smuggling.
Mehul locks the car and quietly sneaks into the house through a pipe at the back. Inside, he sees luxurious items all around and a gun on the front wall. Mehul notices someone's feet in the nearby room, but he immediately realizes that it's not David. Logical Army, can you guess how Mehul knew it wasn't David? Let me know in the comments. Carefully look, those feet are a woman's, and the sandals too. Mehul takes out his gun and points it at the lady, holding her at gunpoint.
Hands up, I said hands up. I want to meet David. Tell me where is David?
But, out of nowhere,
Davis is here. Hands up, otherwise I will shoot you.
Mehul drops his gun and puts his hands up, and suddenly, Tim comes from behind, aiming a gun at David.
Hands up, Tim is here.
Once Tim's name is mentioned, David tosses his gun aside, but suddenly, gunfire erupts from all directions around David's house. The windows and doors shatter. Big Daddy and the Jaikal army had surrounded David's house on all sides. Logical Army, what will Mehul do now? Will Mehul and the Australian detective be able to stop Big Daddy and the Jaikal army together? And will Mehul reach the Bulbulea scientist? Let's see in the next episode. Don't miss out on the excitement, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for new videos every week.